Right now at 5, we're taking a look at the aftermath of the winter storm.
And still dealing with some of that out there. Some of these roads are deceivingly clear this morning. That's why a number of schools are closed again today. We'll have a look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, snow removal crews are working around the clock. We've got a closer look at what's being done in Carthage.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Samantha Walker.
I'm Chris Warner, getting back to normal here at the station. An interesting weekend.
Yes, I know you have spent a lot of time at the station and we're grateful for it. I'm glad to be back at the desk. I'm sure you're maybe glad to have me back so you don't have to do all of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we had Donald O'Keefe here with us because, we talked about we stayed at the station. That's what we told you guys too. We didn't want anybody out on the roads with you all, nor with our employees. We take that same advice ourselves and we had people stay ahead of the snow. We had people stay at home. And, like yesterday, you were outside giving us some videos, but you were not outside for 3 hours straight because, again, we're not that crazy. You just
I know
ran
people
outside,
were very worried. I
filmed for like 5 minutes and then ran back inside.
I had my car. I warmed it up very nicely. I drove a very short distance to a parking lot. I got out of the car for about 3 minutes at a time, filmed, got back in a nice warm car, and went home. Yeah,
see, so we just want you folks at home to know, we're telling you not to get out and be in harm's way. We're not putting our folks in that same situation. We are taking precautions. From, your perception at home. It may not seem like it. It probably did seem like Sam's just standing out there freezing to death, but we're not that crazy.
And we're still keeping that same advice today. I left my house early today to make sure that I was able to take my time on these roads because, yes, a lot of them look clear, but there was still some black ice on there. There was still some slick spots. So still being timely and being careful is really important this morning.
That's gonna be the big deal. Now I know in Joplin the neighborhood streets are still snow packed.
Yes.
That's why there's no school down there. Even though the main roads are looking completely clear, not everything is. And the other part, like I mentioned earlier, and Sam just talked about, some of these roads are deceivingly clear. We're going to start with downtown Pittsburgh because I didn't go through downtown Pittsburgh, of course, coming in here. But I want you to take a close look right there about, what'd that be? Just right around 3rd Street. See some of these shiny spots on the road here? Now, I can't guarantee because I didn't drive on it, but I'd be willing to bet some of that is frozen. Yesterday, when I left the station in the afternoon, we had sunshine. We got some warmer air. We got some of the sun's heat down there. There were a lot of roadways that were wet. And in this kind of weather, that means once cars start to clear, it's going to refreeze. And so black ice is going to be the issue. That's what I saw a lot of on the way up here. It wasn't too bad, but still, you need to be cautious if you're heading out this morning. KDOT Camera 69 near Baxter Springs. Again, the road looks clear, but you can see some of that shine on some of these spots. And you can see some of it here on 171. See those shiny spots? That's not wet. That is ice in most cases. So that's why we're urging you to slow down. Real quick, I want to back up. This is the other thing. Where some of these side roads come out, especially on 2-lane roads, you're getting that right lane that snow is being pushed out onto, and then it's freezing. So that's why you need to be extra cautious. Quick look, MoDOT camera 32nd and range line looking south, and you can see the road looks clear, but there's still those slick spots out there. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking south as well. It looks a little clearer here, a little harder to see. And then the MoDOT cameras around the region. Again, the roads appear clear, but you have got to watch out for those shiny spots. Temperatures 20 in Joplin, 16 in Pittsburgh. It is still cold out there this morning. We've got teens and low 20s, and as we take a look at the wind chills, that's the other thing. It's breezy this morning. Now, the winds are going to ease up, thankfully, by a late morning into the afternoon, but it feels like 0 in Fort Scott, 4 in Monette, 0 in Newada, 0 Siloam Springs. Our best wind chill, Parsons, at 13. And even though it doesn't feel like it, look at this. At least it makes you feel warm. The orange colors do, right? We're upwards of 10 to 25, almost 30 degrees warmer now than where we were this same time yesterday morning. It doesn't feel like it, don't get me wrong, but we are much warmer. Future track force, again, the wind arrows, you're going to see them start to go a little wonky out here because the winds will become calm as we head into the afternoon. Clouds will start increasing this afternoon and into the evening as well. We're going to go about 20 by 9, upper 20s by noon, and highs today into the low 30s across the area. We try and do a little warming this week, and then another big drop in temperatures ahead of a nice warm up next week. We'll break down the details in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. The 4 states continues to dig out from a punishing winter storm that brought heavy snow, fierce winds, and dangerous cold to the region. Road crews have been working hard to clear the streets, and businesses are clearing parking lots and driveways. But driving conditions could be iffy for a while, and some schools have already canceled classes for a second day because of the cold. In Carthage, snow removal crews have worked nearly around the clock since the storm moved through. Zipper Lawn Care of Carthage started operations yesterday morning, shoveling sidewalks and clearing business parking lots. Despite sunshine, it's not enough to melt the snow quickly.
It's not really going to melt. It's going to take a longer time than you'd like. And plus, we got to get these businesses open. We got to get it clean. Everybody can get in and out. People still got to commute and get around. So there's still stuff to be done.
Mitchell also helped his elderly neighbors by clearing snowy sidewalks and entryways. The crew recommends applying ice melt after clearing snow to prevent overnight refreezing. In these sub-freezing temperatures, AAA warns never start or leave your vehicle running in an enclosed space like a garage. Vehicle exhaust releases deadly carbon monoxide that can cause severe injury or death. Keep exhaust pipes clear of snow and ice, and never run gas-powered equipment indoors. Stay safe this winter. Check your vehicle's exhaust system annually, and never use your home appliances for heating. Well, the city of Springfield is revealing the lineup for the National Route 66 Centennial Kickoff, a 4-day event helping recognize the city as the birthplace of Route 66. On Thursday, April 30th, NBC's Today Show will broadcast its 3rd hour live from Springfield. Al Roker, Dylan Dreyer, and Craig Melvin will help spotlight the city's role in American transportation history. Later that day at 4 o'clock, a dedication ceremony will take place at the historic site where officials sent the telegram suggesting the Route 66 name. But the fun doesn't end there. Well, following a state-mandated upgrade on the wastewater treatment plant in Frontenac, the city is proposing a 0.75% citywide sales tax. Yesterday, the first public open house session took place, with city officials making themselves available to answer questions about the proposed sales tax. City officials say hosting open houses for citizens to ask questions is essential to being transparent about the proposal. While most of the U.S. stays inside during the storm, snowplow operators work around the clock to keep Joplin moving. That includes some who operate their own private business. As KOAM's Ty Park shows us, some have been pushing 50-hour shifts since Saturday night.
Snow hits and one business increased in demand, the business of snowplows. For many operators, the schedule started Saturday night. Jared Jenkins of Simpson Lawn Care knows all too well.
It's definitely busy. We stay working. I'm working. I'm pushing about 50 hours right now since it started snowing. I've got about 2 hours of sleep, but I mean, it's work. It's got to be done.
When other people are bedding down and stocking up on food, they are preparing.
So we go ahead and we get equipment ready. We get them all fueled up. We get anti-gel in the fuel so they don't gel up in all the cold weather. We get the plows on the trucks. Anything we can do to prepare just in case. Even if it doesn't snow, at least we're prepared for it and we're ready to go.
Businesses in Joplin are grateful for the plow business because they work those long hours.
100%. It's a safety concern for one. It's a sign of compassion for two. And, you know, in that sense, I feel like it's a good engagement with the community. You're utilizing a business in the area and you're supporting one another.
How do the operators keep going?
Coffee. Yeah, lots of coffee. Yeah, energy drinks. I mean, it's bad, but someone's got to do it. I mean, I don't know. Just good state of mind, I guess. Make sure everyone can make it home.
Local businesses could have stayed open without the snowplows, but...
We could have. I don't know that people would have been very appreciative of that.
In Joplin, Ty Parks, KOAM News.
Well, it seems coffee and determination keep plow crews going so Joplin can keep moving forward. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Federal officials make major personnel changes following a deadly shooting and community unrest. And we have a bit warmer temperatures this week as some of the snow continues to melt. Chris has a look at your weekly forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch, the state of Minnesota and the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul asked a federal judge to stop President Trump's immigration crackdown after the fatal shooting of a second U.S. citizen in Minneapolis over the weekend. The president sent his border czar to take charge of operations there. Matt Gutman is in Minneapolis with the latest.
Greg Bovino, for weeks, the public face of federal immigration operations here, has been reassigned from Minneapolis, along with some Customs and Border Protection agents here. That surprise move and the president's conversation with Minnesota's Governor Tim Walz today follow tense scenes overnight. It all comes a day after that deadly shooting of 37-year-old Alex Preddy. Multiple videos posted on social media captured various angles of the confrontation that led to Preddy's death Saturday morning. CBS News has slowed down portions of that footage for this analysis. Around 9 a.m., about 2 minutes before the shooting, Alex Preddy is seen arguing with agents. Preddy was acting as an observer, documenting ICE operations in the city, like thousands of others here in Minneapolis. Preddy, seen wearing that ball cap, holding a cell phone, is pushed back. A minute later, he's standing in the street, waving a car through. An agent approaches another apparent observer, then shoves her toward the sidewalk. Another agent pushes Preddy, then a second woman walks over. The agent pushes her to the ground and sprays Preddy with a chemical irritant. Preddy and the first woman try to help the woman who was knocked down. At least 7 agents join and try to take Preddy down to detain him. At this moment, an agent in a gray coat appears to remove Preddy's gun from his waistband and runs away from the scrum. A second later, with Preddy's gun now in the hands of that agent, the shooting starts. The agents fire as they pull back from their target. Preddy was an intensive care nurse at the Veterans Affairs Hospital in the city. We spoke with Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara.
Is there a concern that a genie has been let out of a bottle and that it'll be very hard to put it back in terms of mass protests across the city and the possibility of additional violence?
That's been my fear the entire time. I'm just concerned that the pressure is just going to keep building and building and building. And at some point, it's just going to be too much. People are losing faith that the federal government can be capable of enforcing federal law and doing it professionally and without widespread constitutional violations. They're creating a culture in these agencies that's not good, and it's going to take years to undo.
And earlier today, Customs and Border Protection officials said that the agents who were involved in that shooting are still on active duty, but they have been reassigned away from Minneapolis, quote, for their own protection. That, as officials here tell me, they are not sure whether these latest moves by the Trump administration to diffuse tensions here will work. Matt Gutman, CBS News, Minneapolis.
Still to come, the American Academy of Pediatrics has issued its immunization schedule, and it conflicts with recommendations from the CDC. Plus, we have a bit warmer temperatures this week as some of the snow continues to melt. Chris has a look at your Tuesday forecast. The stars of heated rivalry are gearing up for the Olympics as Tyra Banks offers some context about her past controversial reality show. Gwen Baumgarten has your Eye on Entertainment report.
Tyra Banks is headed back to television screens to address the rise and fall of America's Next Top Model. Reality Check Inside America's Next Top Model is the latest documentary from Netflix.
It was very, very intense. But you guys were demanding it.
The once hit reality show, which ran from 2003 to 2018, has become the topic of controversy in recent years, facing accusations of body shaming, extreme makeovers, and poor treatment of contestants after viewers unearthed past episodes. Banks admits the show sometimes went too far. The documentary comes out February 16th. They may not be real hockey players, but this week the stars of the show Heated Rivalry took part in one of winter sports' biggest honors. Hudson Williams and Connor Story are seen here serving as torchbearers ahead of the 2026 Olympic Games in Milan. HBO Max has confirmed a Heated Rivalry Season 2. A husband's attempt to save his marriage by playing a hero takes a sinister turn in the movie Untitled Home Invasion Romance. A man ends up dead, and the husband, played by Jason Biggs, is brought in for questioning by police.
Can I change one of my answers?
In addition to starring in the movie, this is Biggs' directorial debut, relying on cast and crew throughout shooting.
So there was always a sense for me of, obviously I've chewed off a lot here, and I need help.
The movie is out now on Paramount Plus. That's Ryan Entertainment. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Certainly some good options to maybe think about watching, especially when you probably want to stay inside because of how cold it is. Well, here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, and it is still pretty darn cold out there, but believe it or not, we are upwards of almost 30 degrees warmer now than where we were 24 hours ago, though I'm sure it certainly doesn't seem like it if you look out or walk outside. There we go. Oh, we're looking downtown Pittsburgh. See those shiny spots out there about 3rd Street? We have concerns about black ice, even though many of the main roads are beginning to clear. We'll break down your forecast, talk about the little bit of warming we're going to do when it gets cold again when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, coming up on 5:23 now on this Tuesday morning. And again, taking a look, road conditions. So we showed you the cameras earlier, and we talked about those shiny spots on the roadways. A lot of the main roads look clear, and in some cases, they probably are. But if you see those shiny spots out there, it's going to be some black ice, and that's what you've got to look out for. So in terms of our region into southeastern Kansas, we are looking at some clear roadways. That's what this darker blue, or this whatever color blue you want to call it. The lighter blue is partially covered, and the green is wet pavement. And of course, in this case, it's not necessarily wet because it's 20 degrees. It's frozen, which means slick spots are going to be possible across a good portion of the area as well. Heading over to the Missouri side, a lot of improvements because, I mean, the last few days, basically from I-70 and south, it's been covered. We still have some partially covered roadways out there, many of them listed as clear, but even into our neck of the woods, you get into parts of Newton County here, and you've got different routes that are going to be partially covered. So that's going to be Range Line turning into Gateway, heading south to Neosho. We've got 43 here heading down to Seneca, and 59 heading back down toward Diamond, still listed as partially covered. And even back into Lawrence County, we do have a little bit of partially covered. But like I said, some of that's going to be a bit deceiving because the road appears to be clear, and it's clear of snow. It's the black ice concern that we have. And remember, a number of neighborhood streets are not cleared yet either. You know, coming in from Joplin, my neighborhood street, of course, it's covered in snow. They can't plow down there because everybody parks on the road anyway. But it's still covered. Some of why school isn't in session today for some kids is because buses may be able to get onto the highway, but the bus stops aren't all on the highway or on the main roads. They're in the neighborhoods. So hopefully we can get a little more melting done. We got some done yesterday, but that also led to our black ice concerns this morning because we got wet roadways, and then of course it got cold and all that stuff froze over. Now it's breezy this morning. We have wind chills 0 degrees out there in many cases, but by this afternoon, winds will become calm and clouds will begin to increase. Be mostly cloudy through the evening and early overnight hours, and then toward tomorrow morning we start to go mostly clear to partly cloudy across the area. And then as we head into Wednesday afternoon, we should have clear skies for a bit before clouds begin to return late Wednesday into early Thursday, and we're looking to be mostly cloudy Wednesday night and throughout the day on Thursday. Now, one thing that did show up on Future Track, and something that we're keeping an eye on, is the potential for freezing fog this week. Our temperatures overnight are still going to be quite cold, and if we get fog from all this evaporating, melting snow, it could be freezing fog because we're going to have temperatures below zero. So, or not below zero, I'm sorry, below freezing. So that's something else you want to be aware of, is you might need to scrape your windshield a little more this week because of that potential for freezing fog. All right, this morning, temperatures mid-teens to start, mid-20s by 11 a.m. So the sun does help a bit. It's not super warm, but that's certainly better than where we were yesterday, going into the upper 20s and low 30s. Winds again calm this afternoon. Mostly cloudy through the evening, so initially that does help slow the temperature drop, but as skies clear overnight, we start to tumble back around 10 tonight, but thankfully, again, calm winds. Southwest breeze about 5 to 10 tomorrow, so early could give us those wind chills about 5-10 degrees above zero initially. Then we'll do a little warming, a little clearing, low to mid-30s. And we're still mid-30s or low mid-30s on Thursday, back into the teens. Here's that next blast of cold air. So back down into the teens and 20s, single digits this weekend. Maybe a few flurries late Sunday. Next week, though, not looking too bad, looking better at least. Upper 30s, some low 40s, and maybe even some shower chances. Not snow, shower chances, because we should be warm enough. Tuesday, Wednesday, any rain we do see will be liquid, not frozen. Let's check your forecast. We're going to send it over to Samantha now with Health Watch.
Thanks, Chris. Lifetime heavy drinkers face a much higher risk of colorectal and rectal cancer. A study published in the journal Cancer found that people who average 14 alcoholic drinks a week have a 25% higher chance of colorectal cancer and a 95% higher risk of rectal cancer. But researchers also found that quitting drinking can lower that risk. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 5:30, health experts warn about the deadly risks of cold exposure as temperatures plummet.
And while we are technically warmer today, we are still cold across the area and black ice concerns in some spots. We'll go over the details coming up.
Plus, fire crews rescue 6 people from boats as an Arkansas yacht club roof collapses from snow.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Tuesday. It is Tuesday. I thought yesterday was Wednesday, but it's not. It was only Monday.
That's what happens when you spend days on end at a TV station. I mean, literally not going home.
Yeah, it was, but like we said before, you know, we took the same precautions we were telling you all to take. You know, we kept people here before it started snowing. We kept people at home after it started snowing, and then limited, you know, who had to be on the road. And like we said earlier, you know, like Samantha yesterday morning, she was not outside for 3 hours straight in dangerously cold temperatures. She had a warm place to go. Spent, what, 5 minutes or so outside at a time?
At a time.
At a time. That was about it. So we take the precautions. It may look different from the TV perspective, but we really do take the precautions. We keep our people safe, and we want you to stay safe as well.
Because I appreciated how much people seemed to care about me that I was outside.
Yes.
There were some very upset people, and I appreciate that. But also, I was okay.
Absolutely.
I promise.
Yes, and that's why, you know, we wanted to kind of clue you in on the magic of television. Sometimes we're not as crazy as we seem. I might be, but the rest of us are not so much. So the new thing that we get to worry about today, a number of schools are closed again, and I mentioned this, you know, through the weekend. Like, I think it's very possible there will be a number of school closings tomorrow, because a lot of these back roads and stuff, it's going to take time to get all this snow cleared off. Neighborhood streets in Joplin are still covered, and this morning, even on the clear roads, black ice.
Yeah, I had to be extra careful. I made sure I put a lot of extra time in my trip today. Being like, I'm going to leave the house early, and that's something I'd recommend just so you can take your time on those roads. Absolutely.
And while the kids may not be going back to school, I know a lot of folks starting to head back to work, and that's what you got to watch out for. We're going to take a quick camera tour out there, starting in downtown Pittsburgh. Now, like I said, I didn't drive through Pittsburgh, so I cannot say this with 100% certainty, but it does give you a good example of what you're looking for. You see these shiny spots here and up here by about 3rd Street? That's kind of what you're watching out for, because right now with our temperatures, any of that, it's not going to be liquid. It's going to be frozen, and that's what you need to be cautious with, is that potential for black ice out there. KDOT camera Baxter Springs, just north of there on 69. See, the highway itself looks clear. I don't know how well this camera's resolution will see. It's hard to tell for sure, but you've got to watch out for those slick spots and the potential for black ice. The other thing you have to watch out for, because I noted this too, especially on 2-lane roadways anywhere, you get these areas where coming off of side streets or driveways, snow is getting kicked out into that far right lane, and then that will refreeze, and that will actually make for a slicker spot here than it is over here. So that's the other part you need to be cautious about. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line looking south. Again, it looks fairly clear. And like I said, my drive through Joplin, on many of the main roads there, it was clear. But you've got to still be cautious out there and watch out for that potential for black ice. Again, otherwise, still doesn't look too bad across the region this morning. Temperatures cold but better in many cases. 20 in Joplin, 16 in Pittsburgh, and across the area, get a nice shades of colors here. They just don't paint a pretty picture on the temperature map. We've got 10, 15, 20 degrees across the region, so still cold. It's breezy this morning, so a number of wind chills right now sitting at 0 or not very far above, as you can see, like Siloam Springs, Iola, Yates Center, Independence, Newata, feels like 0, 4, Monette and Carthage, 9 in Pittsburgh, 1 in Fort Scott. However, as I mentioned, we're 10 to almost 30 degrees warmer right now than what our temperatures were 24 hours ago. Quick look at the future track. The gusty winds this morning will ease up after about 10 o'clock or so and will become calm this afternoon. Clouds will start increasing through the afternoon and into the evening hours out there, which will help a little bit briefly with temperatures dropping tonight, but it still gets cold anyway. 20 by 9, upper 20s by noon. Highs today back into the low 30s, right around freezing, and again, calm winds. Like I said, though, it'll get cold again tonight. We try and warm up a bit more over the next couple of days, and it gets really cold again by this weekend. Details on that in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. The sub-freezing temperatures can lead to an increased risk for health problems. KOAM's Kenny Vorman breaks down what to look for and how to prevent these issues.
The snow may have stopped falling, but we're not out of the woods quite yet. According to Ready.gov, 63% of weather-related deaths can be connected to cold exposure. This makes it all the more imperative to bundle up.
The CDC outlines 2 dangerous conditions that can stem from the cold: frostbite and hypothermia. Frostbite is caused by freezing skin and can create a loss of feeling in the extremities with potential for permanent damage. Hypothermia occurs as a result of abnormally low body temperatures, with symptoms ranging from shivering and exhaustion to memory loss and slurred speech. In either case, the CDC urges anyone who has to leave their home to dress properly. This includes wearing a scarf, hat, gloves, water-resistant boots, and a coat to cover several layers of loose-fit clothing. Those at high risk generally include older adults, babies sleeping in cold rooms, as well as those who consume alcohol or illicit drugs in excess. In the event that someone is experiencing symptoms, they are advised to remove any wet clothing, find warm shelter, and seek medical attention. Kenny Foreman, KOAM News.
Remember to layer up and limit time outside in these dangerous temperatures. In Oklahoma City, shelters are staying open to handle the overwhelming demand and keep residents safe and warm under the dangerous weather conditions. One shelter in Oklahoma City had all of its 300 beds full, and that number has been steady during this cold snap. The shelter has been prepping its staff members for over a week to have enough workers to prepare meals and work in the facility. Heavy snow caused an awning to collapse at an Arkansas yacht club on Sunday. Crews rescued 6 people from 2 houseboats impacted by the collapse. Another 22 people were safely evacuated. Catherine Rowley has more details on what happened.
One of the docks had a roof that had collapsed. While we were here getting the 6 people off of those 2 boats, the roof behind us collapsed, and over the course of the day has gotten worse.
Scott Joblin, the fire chief for the West Pulaski Fire Department, and his crews responded to the Little Rock Yacht Club a little after 5 on Sunday morning. They were joined by several others too.
We had resources coming from the Pulaski County Office of Emergency Management, the Little Rock Fire Department, MIMS, as well as the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office Marine Unit was en route.
During our interview, we even heard more cracking from the structure.
As a team, that was just another part of the building that collapsed. We had 7 volunteers responding here, and we had 2 more crews on standby if we needed them. But it's always a team effort when something like this happens.
Joblin told me that this was the first time a collapse like this had happened, but it's not the first call for a structural collapse during the storm.
We are starting to see reports of carports that have collapsed, some metal buildings that have collapsed, metal barns and that sort of thing, but nothing that's been an emergency situation.
Along with emergency crews, a duck hunter in the area also stepped in, helping rescue those who were stuck.
Pulaski County, I think, has a shines when it comes to that, helping each other and helping their neighbors out. He did not hesitate at all to jump in and lend a hand. It's great to see. It kind of warms you up on a cold day like this.
2 owners of boats were at the yacht club. They told me that they knew this was a possibility of something like this happening, but they've never seen anything of this magnitude.
We heard a loud pop, which woke us up. We got up, came outside, and found that the fingers had started going underwater. But as the morning progressed, about 30 minutes later, it just got worse. And so we decided that we needed to get off the boat. We grabbed a few things and we left.
Another owner came to the yacht club to be with his boat during the storm to make sure nothing happened.
So it wasn't very much fun. And then this morning, the snow load started building up, and we could see that there was a danger it was going to fall, and everybody. We got everybody off.
One boat sank due to the collapse. The Coast Guard was there to monitor any oil or gas leaks in the water. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The president threatens Canada with 100% tariffs. In Consumer Watch, if you send any time-sensitive documents by mail, listen up. A change at the U.S. Postal Service could mean major adjustments for when you drop those in the mail. Jared Hill has tips on how to make sure your mail arrives on time.
Mailing time-sensitive documents? Well, time is now even more of the essence. Days before the start of the new year, the U.S. Postal Service announced the date you drop mail in the mailbox may no longer be the date it's officially processed and postmarked. How significant is this?
I think it's significant in a couple of ways.
Economist Elena Patel follows the Postal Service for the Brookings Institute.
People who are mailing things very close to deadlines should be even more aware of and maybe make changes.
USPS posted on its website, while we are not changing our postmarking practices, we have made adjustments to our transportation operations. The shift could have a big impact on people who pay bills, vote, or file their taxes through the mail.
Anything that's getting mailed to a government agency should be sent hand-stamped, registered mail, return receipt requested.
The National Society of Tax Professionals is echoing the recommendation from USPS. Mail documents a few days early or go inside the post office and get the date stamped at the counter, what's called a manual postmark. The adjustment is part of the agency's 10-year plan to cut costs and restore profitability, concentrating processing work in larger regional hubs with new high-speed sorting machines.
All postal operators are basically trying to reimagine a business model that for the last 250 years has been, pretty stable. It's only since 2007 that things have gone awry.
Forging a future for a service shifted by technology. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Experts say one concern is people with mobility issues or who live in rural communities far from a post office may find it difficult to get to a physical location. Separately, USPS raised the price to ship some packages starting earlier this month. That's it for Consumer Watch. And now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, again, it is very cold out there this morning, but believe it or not, we are almost 30 degrees warmer in some cases compared to yesterday. Black ice, the concern on the roadways. We'll take a look at that and the slightly warmer temperatures today when we come back.
Despite difficult conditions from this massive winter storm, farmers and ranchers continue to be on the job. An update in today's Ag Day Minute.
I'm Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. The powerful winter storm isn't stopping work in farm country. Farmers and ranchers working in those difficult conditions to protect livestock from the historic winter blast that hit 28 states and includes ice, snow, and record-breaking cold. Now, we have heard the storm has slowed grain movement, and ethanol and soy plants have slowed production. Winter kill is possible in winter wheat in areas such as Kansas, where the deep freeze was preceded by above-average temperatures. And President Trump is threatening a 100% tariff on goods from Canada. It's in response to a newly announced trade agreement between Canada and China. The president making the threat over the weekend on social media. Now, he says if Prime Minister Mark Carney thinks Canada is going to be a drop-off port for China to send goods and products into the U.S., then he is, quote, sorely mistaken. Now, this follows a recent announcement of a negotiated trade deal between Canada and China to lower tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles in return for lower import taxes on Canadian farm products. And as we said, work continues to keep all those newborn calves safe from the cold. Our own Machinery Pete sharing this picture from his friends in Pocahontas, Arkansas, saying, here's treatment orphan calves get in Arkansas when the weather turns northern. The rancher there concerned enough about the calf to bring it indoors along with fresh bedding. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station or get updates over at agworld.com.
Now let's take it over to Chris with a quick look at the forecast.
Yeah, it's interesting. It was interesting. We were talking about this yesterday, about if you're cold, they're cold, bring your pets inside. I did not realize, and I think it's good. I'm not saying anything bad. It's just I don't think I've ever seen anybody bring their cows inside. I get the circumstances. That was just a very unique photo. Very cool, though. That's a lot of hay. a lot of straw for that cow to be inside, but it's all right. Dogs and cats can make significant messes. I think that cow was just happy to be indoors. And indoors is where you're going to want to be. A lot of kids out of school again today. Now, you see on the KDOT road conditions, up around Garnett, still some partially covered roadways. This blue color here is clear, and then that green, again, the technical term that the KDOT site uses is wet pavement, but in our case, obviously, it's 20 degrees. It's not wet at all. It is slick out there, and black ice is the concern that we have. On to the Missouri side, again, a lot of improvements since yesterday, because through yesterday almost along and south of I-70, most of the roads were listed as covered. Some improvements. We have got clear roadways being listed out there, with the exception around South Joplin back toward Neosho. So we've got 43, 175, 86, 59, parts of 60 even. Well, I'm not sure if that's 60. I'm not familiar enough right down there, but still. And then just south of Mount Vernon and then south of Cassville as well. Still some partially covered. But remember, black ice is the biggest concern we have. It's going to be those shiny spots you see on the roadway as you're driving. I saw plenty of those. We had some melting take place yesterday. A lot of roads on my way back yesterday afternoon were soaked from melting. The problem is, with it being so cold still, some of that can refreeze and could lead to issues on its own. And of course, neighborhood streets, rural routes, things like that, not clear. It's why a number of schools are closed again today because the buses can't get around. The main roads may look pretty good, but the buses don't just travel on the main roads. They've got to get through your neighborhoods too. And if they can't do that, it's not safe for them to be out. Now, we're going to get a little more assistance though from the sun. It is breezy this morning too. I do want to emphasize we've got wind chills around 0 this morning again. Still bitterly cold because it's still pretty windy this morning. Those winds will begin to ease up as we go late morning into the afternoon. Clouds will begin to increase. That's really about it. Then we go overnight, and clouds will begin to decrease again as we get closer to sunrise tomorrow. See that little thing of the clouds that just kind of flared up and then fizzled back out? We are looking at the potential for some patchy fog heading into tomorrow morning. And there are concerns for freezing fog because we're still going to be very cold tonight, down to about 10. So if we do get any fog, you might have to do some scraping on the windshields if you're heading out tomorrow morning. So make sure you plan for that as well. And I'd say also, just depending on how much melting we get done today and how much the road crews can get to, I'd say plan for kids to maybe be at home another day tomorrow as well for at least some of us. As we go through Wednesday, sunshine again, which will certainly help. Winds will shift out of the southwest. So early, we could have wind chills about 5 to 10 above with those southwest winds about 5 to 10. Then we'll have clouds increase again late Wednesday into Thursday, and we'll spend most of our Thursday mostly cloudy. Future track hinting at maybe a flurry or two as a system passes just to our south. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but we're not looking at anything significant at this point with that. We're going to start the day in the mid-teens, and then again, thanks to the sun, it's not really warm, but it's better. Mid-20s by 11 o'clock this morning. Our highs today, upper 20s and into the low 30s. Clouds will start increasing. Winds will ease up for us. And as we head into the evening, mostly cloudy skies initially do kind of help that temperature drop out there. We slow down, but once we start to clear, we take another dive back down to about 10 for the overnight low. All right, mid-30s tomorrow, low mid-30s on Thursday, another wave of cold air, teens, and then eventually into the 20s through the weekend with lows very cold again. A few flurries possible late Sunday as well. And then as we head to next week, we might actually do some warming into the upper 30s and low 40s, maybe a few isolated showers, rain showers by next Tuesday, Wednesday. That's checking your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, even in extreme cold temperatures, some Pitt State students went out in the snow yesterday to try and beat that cabin fever by sledding at Slanger Park, making the most out of a day off school.
I actually don't really like the snow. I've never really liked the cold, but my friends wanted to do it, and we went to IHOP this morning, so kind of got my blood flowing, wanting to do it more. And we found 2 sleds out here that weren't even ours, but we could just use them.
Although campus closed, the Student Recreation Center and Axe Library stayed open for students looking for something to do during the snow day.
I like their makeshift sleds they had there as well. I let the kids out for a little bit. Our middle child, Colt, he made this huge pile of snow in the front lawn and then did a front flip off the front porch into it. I can tell you, that brought a lot of snow back into the house, but to be young, when the cold doesn't bother you. Does it bother you yet, Sam?
Not as much, But like, I'm getting to the age where I start feeling it in my fingers,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, I don't want to. I don't want.
I know.
But like, I love to, do a little bit of traipsing in the snow. But then, you fall one time, and you're like, okay, it humbles you a little bit, and then you're like back inside.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I do miss that. I watch the kids go out and play and all that stuff, and I kind of miss being able to go out there as well and just enjoy the snow. If I go outside now, I'm like, oh, it's way too cold. But we will be warmer. And believe it or not, as cold as it is this morning, many of us are 20 to 30 degrees warmer than where we were yesterday. So it may not feel much better, but it is an improvement. We're going to start about the mid-teens, mid-20s by 11. Sunny skies out there will help do some clearing today. Eventually into the low 30s. Clouds increasing through the afternoon. We're breezy this morning. Those winds will eventually become calm as we head into the late morning and into the afternoon hours. Mostly cloudy through the evening, which will slow the temperature drop. And then after midnight or so, skies will begin to clear out again. We're going to drop back down to 10. So anything that does melt could refreeze. So again, patchy black ice is going to be really the biggest concern, aside from back roads and neighborhood streets that may not be clear yet. On the main roads where it looks clear, black ice is going to be a concern. We're going to go mid-30s again tomorrow, low mid-30s on Thursday. Another blast of cold air into the weekend, naturally. And we'll be back into the 20s, maybe some upper teens, single digits for our lows. But then next week, we finally start to do some warming. We're back into the upper 30s and low 40s. Next Tuesday, Wednesday, those are shower chances, rain shower chances, because any rain we see, any precipitation we see should happen while it's warm enough for it to be liquid, not frozen. That is a check of your forecast. We've got another hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.